on the world stage, we're looking at Nigeria and the situation there with the central bank digital currency that they launched there and the crisis going on with their switching over to a new bill, the Naira and Bitcoin. And the whole mess over there is actually really promoting Bitcoin adoption in the nation. So let's take a step back and give you the backstory. In 2021, the Central Bank of Nigeria, they had expressed a desire to move toward a more cashless society. And so they launched the e-Naira, their central bank digital currency. Now, Nigerians are historically known to be very supportive of Bitcoin. And so they thought, well, hey, they're both digital currencies. This will go over no problem. Not so much. So a year later, in October 2022, only 0.5% of Nigerians were using it. So that's 1 in 200, despite the fact that they are trying to incentivize by giving a 5% discount if you use it. The Nigerians weren't having it. Now, something to know about Nigeria, 55% of the country is unbanked. And 85% of the banknotes are outside the vaults of the commercial banks. So the Central Bank of Nigeria decided there's too much cash out there. And they also reiterated their goal of trying to make the society more cashless. So in October 2022, it announced it would be redesigning their larger bill notes. So their 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes, and phasing them out so that after 3 months, they would be worthless. And so the people in Nigeria were told to come to the banks with all their cash and give it to them, and then they would give them new cash. And the rollout has been a logistical nightmare because there's only 2 printing presses in the whole country where they can print this stuff, so there's nowhere near enough. Some of the reasons that the central bank said that they wanted to phase out the old Naira was kind of the typical objections of counterfeiting, criminal activity, but also the inflation problem that they were having. And so, but the problem was when the Nigerians came to get the new cash, there wasn't enough. And so they were telling them, well, you can only take out a little bit if you get any. And Nigerians are waiting in line for hours, even days. And so they recently had an election where they expressed their disapproval with the situation going on there. And so they have pushed back the smallest denomination, the 200 Naira note. They've said, okay, well, that one still can work until April. But a lot of the merchants aren't taking it. They don't want to be stuck with it. Hot potato, right? Well, this isn't going to be worth anything soon, and I don't want to have to wait in line to switch it out. And so the fungibility of the cash is broken, right? One is not equal to the other. They're fighting the 21% inflation. And so, but what's happening, the silver lining on this whole situation is that Bitcoiners in Nigeria are teaching the people about Bitcoin as a workaround in all this. And so they're teaching the merchants to receive it, and they're teaching people how to use it. And for this reason, Nigeria was ranked 11 in the world report, the 2022 Global Chainalysis Crypto Adoption List. So you hate to see what's going on over there, but it's interesting that it's fast-tracking people learning about this.
You know, Becca brought this to our attention a couple of months ago about a protocol called Match and Cura.
Yes, this is so interesting. Tell us about this.
So using the Nokia phones that most of the Nigerians use, they can transact using text. So it was basically a system, a protocol that allows them to spend their digital assets, Bitcoin specifically, at these different vendors. Definitely go back to the archives and look up that show for more information on that.
Wow, I love that. I love the creativity in the space. Like, okay, we can find a workaround, because that I had read that as well, that so many of the Nigerians, they're unbanked. And again, one of the one of the reasons, I forgot to mention it earlier, but that the central bank said that they wanted to phase out the old cashes was because people were hoarding. But hoarding is just kind of a negative connotation for saving, right? And so this problem that people have spent their lives working, they've spent their energy, their time laboring, and the value of that labor is put into some monetary asset to preserve it. And so not only do you have the 21% inflation rate, which is basically like the piggy bank, losing 21% every year, but now you got this situation where everything you saved is going to be worthless unless you come in and switch it out. I brought a little show and tell, our little Federal Reserve note. Dirty fiat, as it is affectionately called in the Bitcoin community, although this one looks pretty clean.
I mean, imagine a redesign of our money.
Can you imagine if they said, okay, 3 months, and then this is worthless?
That would be cause for a serious revolution, a serious...
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Well, and I do think in America, at least, we're very accustomed to digital money already. I mean, people push back when they first learn about Bitcoin. Well, what is it? It's, you can't touch it. But the thing is, most of our monetary system is not this, right? It's a ledger. It's just a centralized one. And so we use credit cards and wires and all that stuff. So I don't know if we'd have the same situation, although if you move over to Lebanon right now and what's going on there, it's also a crisis. It's not because they don't have enough printed cash, but basically on February 1st, the value of their currency was reduced 90%. So if you had $1 million worth of savings, on February 1st, it was worth $100,000. And they too are having problems. The banks are shutting down and people just can't get any cash out. Because in a crisis situation like that, where the banks are shut down, cash becomes king, right? Like if you go to the store and your digital money's not working, this is the only way to purchase. So it's a really scary situation over there too. People are going in and holding up their banks violently to get their money out.
Yikes.
It's a bit of a nightmare, but it's scary to think about what would we do if our bank was shut down? And that's actually something in financial education I do try to help people think through. Just what would happen if there was, let's say, a cyber attack and you couldn't access your bank for 2 weeks? Would you have anything like cash or Bitcoin where you could purchase some food from someone? It's an interesting thing to think through.
Yes, it is. I've never put myself in that, standpoint and considered such a thing. But
yeah,
I may need to start doing a little more preparation.
Kudos to the Bitcoin community in Nigeria. It's horrible what's happening over there, but it's also really encouraging that more and more people are coming to learn the value add of Bitcoin and a decentralized global monetary system.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Hey, it's Amy. Click over here to subscribe. Click over here for more content, and we'll see you next time.